Ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe to this channel right now. In a couple of minutes, actually in a couple of seconds, you'll hear from former President Donald Trump, future President Donald Trump. You will also hear from Nikki Haley, and you'll also hear from Congressman Byron Donald, Senator Tim Scott. So hit subscribe right now. The South Carolina results will be out, I believe, 7 p.m. Eastern. Trump will win by at least 25, possibly 30 points. And Super Tuesday is about a week or so away, week and a half, March 5th, I believe. There's no way that, in my humble view, that Nikki Haley continues to lose by 25 to 35 points. At that point, donors are just giving money to her campaign, knowing that she'll lose by double digits, by record-breaking margins. So that makes no sense for a number of reasons. We'll get to that. She'll drop out after South Carolina, after she loses this evening. Hit subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get started. To my super chat, thank you. Let's get started with former President Donald Trump on why I believe he is so popular around the country, but also in South Carolina. Okay? Here he is talking about God and religion, and something the Democrats shy away from. We can go on. I'll explain why they shy away and don't address the topic of God and religion a little later. The religion for atheists who vote Democrat is politics. That's their religion. Their religion is worshiping MSNBC and CNN, the Washington Post, the New York Times, Hollywood, groupthink. So they've replaced a belief in religion with politics. That's what they worship. That's what they idolize. And the great thing about Trump is that he destroys all their sacred cows, which is so amusing and hilarious and beautiful. We had record low poverty with Trump, in addition to the fact that he is such a wrecking ball when it comes to these political sacred cows. And that's why I think he's so popular throughout the country. That's why he's defeating Biden, in addition to the fact that we had record low poverty with Trump, record highs in household median income. Inflation was low. Interest rates were low. Mortgage rates are double. So there's no left-leaning channels or pundits or writers or journalists. They're not talking about buying a home under Biden and buying a home under Trump. Under Trump, interest rates for mortgages were around 3%. Under Biden, they're 7 to 8%. You're paying double every month on your mortgage payment just because you voted Democrat. Yet again, people vote against their best interests when they vote for Biden and Democrats. But hit subscribe. I think that Hillary Clinton will replace Biden, actually. I think I'll be right about that. And unfortunately, I'll be right about a stock market crash that I think we're going to have before November. Unfortunately. Anyway, hit subscribe to this channel. Let's hear President Trump. And then we'll hear Nikki Haley a little later. But we'll hear I don't want to go into Trump talking about Nikki Haley just yet. But I think this is one of the reasons, this speech is one of the reasons people in South Carolina love Trump, and why he's going to dominate so decisively. Hit subscribe.
The radical left is coming after all of us because they know that our allegiance is not to them. Our allegiance is to our country, and our allegiance is to our Creator. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. How any Christian can vote for a Democrat, Christian or person of faith, how you can vote for a Democrat is crazy. It's crazy. They've got to stop. They've got to stop because it's hard. You know, we have to really go out on November 5th, and we have to get votes like nobody ever got before because they always cheat. We have some great. Did something that really has set back our country tremendously. But we're going to get votes. I will tell you, we did phenomenal. Enthusiasm was probably the likes of which nobody's ever seen in an election in this country for both of them. The radical left is coming of them. The enthusiasm for this election coming up in November is far greater than it was in 2016 or 2020. Far greater. It's not even a contest. I've never seen anything like it. Even coming over here, everybody has a Trump sign. Trump, Trump, Trump. And, unfortunately, we're still 9 months away, a little more than 9 months away. And the sad part is that the incompetence of this man and this administration can do tremendous damage in 9 months. That's a long time. 9 months sounds like it's short, and it, politically speaking, is pretty short. It's not a long period. But the damage they do is just overwhelming, what they're allowing to happen to our country. What they cannot stand is that in the end, we do not answer to bureaucrats in Washington. We answer to God in heaven. We do. We answer to God in heaven. So today I come before you as a friend and an ally and a fellow believer to ask for your help and your support and your prayers for this country. We need your prayers, most importantly. And I make you a simple promise. In my first term, I fought for Christians harder than any president has ever done before. You know that. You know that. And I will fight even harder for Christians with 4 more years in the White House. We did things that the likes of which nobody has ever done for Christians in this country, and I'm very proud of that and honored by it. Just think of what, with God's help, we already achieved in our historic first term. Just a few of the things under my leadership and working with you and a lot of the great people in the room. Jack, thank you very much, by the way. You see you sitting there. Everyone knows who I'm talking about. Thank you very much. Great job. And so many others. Under my leadership, we did more to uphold religious freedom than any administration in history, and everybody agrees. So, Robert, I guess you were right, weren't you, huh? We fearlessly protected the conscience rights of doctors, nurses, teachers, and faith groups like the Little Sisters of the Poor. We fought very hard alongside of them. And we had some incredible results. I blocked the IRS from using the Johnson Amendment to interfere with pastors' freedom of speech. And Joe Biden is trying to take it back. He's trying to take it away. They used that. I'll never forget, I was in New York in Trump Tower. It was 2015. I had probably 45 pastors, some rabbis. But we had people of faith and teachers of faith and people I want to hear from. And I said, I'd love to have your endorsement. And they looked a little bit like bewildered. Because I didn't know what the hell. I never ran for office before. Now I'm running for president and I'm leading. And I say, I want to have your endorsement. And they said, no, I don't. We just can't do that. I'm wondering, because they had come up 2 or 3 times. We got along great. We all agreed on just about everything. But when I said, I'd love to have your endorsement, the room went sort of silent. And I called one of them over and I said, what's wrong? I don't understand. Why wouldn't you endorse me? I mean, the person you're talking about, and you could go either way, whether it's Biden or Hillary Clinton. I don't use the word crooked, for I took that word away from her and I put it now on Biden. I call her now beautiful Hillary. She's a beautiful woman. But I said, why aren't they endorsing me? I'm so much better. I mean, I don't want to brag, but I am so much for what you are all about, and what you're about is the most important thing. They said, sir, we're not allowed to. We have a thing called the Johnson Amendment. I never heard of that. I said, what is it? Well, if we openly support somebody, politically, we could lose everything. They'll take away, we have a tax-exempt status. They'll take that away. Churches will be devastated, will be devastated. I said, I never knew that. This was Lyndon Johnson, very powerful president, actually, powerful guy. He knew how to get things done, and he had a problem with, I guess they say, a pastor in Houston or Dallas, big problem. And he did this. He put this horrible rule into effect, and it was a very strong rule. And I said, and we were on the 68th floor of Trump Tower, and we're looking down on Fifth Avenue. I said, so that means that any person down there has equal power to you people, and you're the people that everybody wants to listen to, but you're not allowed to back that up because you need some political strength. They said, essentially, that's right. We can't really do anything because we'll lose tax-exempt status and other things. And I said, that's too bad. I said, if I get in, we are going to totally void out the Johnson Amendment. And I was able to do that. We voided it out. And you were able to speak because you're the people that I want to hear from and that other people want to hear from. And you're not allowed to speak. And you should be allowed. If you see somebody that believes in Christianity, if you see somebody that loves evangelicals or Israel, which has become more and more prominent in your thoughts and your prayers, you should be able to vote and to promote the person that's backing the ideas that you love and cherish and are very important. So I thought it was the most ridiculous thing. Anyway, we got rid of it and people took a much more active stance, and that's great. And we're going to do it again, and we're going to get it out now permanently.
So, in terms of the law that prevents um, churches or pastors or priests or congregations from choosing a candidate. So you look at the number one, you look at the American political landscape. Every late night comedian, Kimmel, Seth Meyers, Stephen Colbert, John Oliver, all Saturday Night Live, the Washington Post, the New York Times, MSNBC, CNN, Vanity Fair, Esquire, Rolling Stone, Mother Jones, The Nation. We had Vice and BuzzFeed until recently. You have The Atlantic. All of Hollywood. Then you had social media algorithms. Then you had Twitter before Elon Musk. You have all of these institutions. We get newspapers, universities. Everyone is going to bat for the Democratic Party, disparaging Trump, insulting, demeaning, demonizing Donald Trump, saying that you should disown friends and family. That's been written in publications if they vote for Trump. And yet churches and congregations can't give their political viewpoint. You have the entire American political establishment and media apparatus, public relations monstrosity every single day. And I explained this yesterday in the segment regarding the demise of BuzzFeed and Vice, and I'm not happy that people are losing their jobs. But the reason is because you have so many. You have virtually every publication and every institution out there in politics opposing Trump. And so, why would you read one newspaper or one publication, or why would you watch one cable station over the other if everyone is saying the same thing? So Democrats get free political advertising to the tune of billions of dollars every month, every year, with all of these publications and cable stations and Hollywood celebrities and late night comedians, and they're all overtly choosing Biden or whoever replaces him. I think it will be Hillary Clinton, and then the Democratic Party, and they can voice their support, but churches and congregations can't. That's not fair. That's absurd. That's an injustice. And so, and then you get this nonsense from Democrats or like progressives or left-leaning people. Oh, Trump is the antithesis of, a Christian or what a God-fearing person would be. It's like, well, you know what? Trump has lived a better life than Biden or Bill Clinton or Hillary or any of these people. Kerry, he's lived a better life than anybody on the left. Tell me, did he destroy a country like President Obama did with the intervention in Libya? I don't see Democrats flying to Libya. That's because the country's been in turmoil for over a decade now, since a failed intervention led by President Obama. He single-handedly helped. It wasn't only President Obama's intervention, but he created a destabilizing moment that caused chaos and mayhem and destroyed that country. And then he sent Americans and then used military action just as much, if not more so, in many ways than Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld, who destroyed countries with their decision making. And we sent Americans, brave, noble, courageous, in many cases, God-fearing, religious American men and women to protect us, and we sent them to never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts that Biden got them into, and that Bush got them into, and that people like Nikki Haley got them into. And Trump, with the Doha Agreement, negotiated the end of the longest-running counterinsurgency conflict we've ever had. And it was Biden that completely botched that. It was a May 1st, 21 withdrawal. For the left-leaning pundits who blame Trump or who try in the most perverse way to praise Biden for the Doha Agreement, it was a May 1st, 2021 withdrawal. Trump negotiated with the enemies and adversaries and allies there a May 1st, not a haphazard withdrawal in the summer that gave billions and billions in weaponry and allowed a chaotic scene to unfold where Americans lost their lives and Afghans lost their lives. We have American soldiers who lost their lives directly because of Biden's incompetence. But it was Trump that brought an end to this, not the Democrats. Democrats have no problem sending Americans to never-ending military conflict. And so, who's more of a God-fearing person? Trump, a lot more so. Who worships intelligence agencies? Democrats. Who worships media? Democrats. Who worships these sacred cows of, civility only when it suits them? But when Biden tells Charlemagne the God the most offensive statement of all time, immediately the Washington Post and MSNBC go to bat for Biden and Democrats. It's tribalism at its finest. It is the cult is not the person who supports Trump or Trump supporters. The cult is voting Democrat, knowing very well that Democrats have said far more offensive and done more offensive things. Okay? From destroying countries like Libya to the crime bill that Biden voted for. He wrote the part of the crime bill that talks about the substance that his son Hunter allegedly used, and the sentencing disparities. But anyway, let's continue. Let's listen to Trump really quickly talk about his competitor in South Carolina who will eventually drop out. I think right after South Carolina.
In the Harris poll, we lead the primary field by more than 50 points, just came out, with Trump at 61 and DeSanctimonious at 11. And Bird Brain is at 6. Does anybody know who Bird Brain is? He said, hey, you can have her. I will never run against our president. He's one of the greatest presidents we've ever had. I will not run against our president under any circumstances. 4 months later, I'd like to announce my candidacy. What kind of people are these? These politicians out there. What kind of people do you have here? Ben, you're not that way. Ben is not that way. Better not be that. I'm not going to fight. But no, what kind of people are these? She's been proclaiming for so long that she would never run. I was a great president. I put her in charge of the United Nations. Now, I must say, within the confines of this room on a Sunday, one of the reasons I did it was I happened to love the Lieutenant Governor of South Carolina, and we moved him. Henry McMaster is great. He's a great guy. So he became governor. So I liked it. I got 2 for the price of 1. I moved her over there, and she was fine. But the big thing is she said I'd never run, and then she announced that she's going to run. She said it many times. I will never run against our president. He was a great president. Then she goes, I'd like to announce my candidacy. So we hit her hard. But Bird Brain, I call her Bird Brain. Highly overrated. She's a very highly overrated person. But DeSanctimonious is really overrated. Did anybody ever see anybody fall? I think it's got to be one of the worst campaigns in history. He was supposed to be young. He's this, that. He's going to be the future of the party. After people see him make about 3 speeches, that's the end of him. In the latest Ipsos poll of the general election, we're demolishing crooked Joe Biden 49-43. In the Washington Post, we're beating him by 11. Wasn't that a great one? Did you see it last week? Washington Post comes out that we're leading by 9, then they had to correct that to 10, then they had to correct it to 11 or something. But they said This must be an outlier. This is an outlier. They spend $1 million in a poll, and they're trying to say the poll is wrong. It's got to be wrong. I think their poll is right. We got to get out and vote, and we got to make sure they don't cheat. Keep your eyes open. Iowa, they love Trump. I'm up by about 40 points in Iowa.
So there's no way that anyone gets close to defeating Biden or Hillary, anyone who replaces Biden like Trump, okay? Trump is up in Michigan, okay? He's up by 4 points in Michigan, generally a blue state. I mean, purple, but generally goes Democrat. Okay, Trump won Michigan in 2016. He'll win Michigan in 24. Okay, there's no way that Nikki Haley comes even close. Hello, everybody, by the way. Hello, thank you. Carl, everybody here, thank you. Lou, everybody. Ronald, hello. Thanks, everybody, to my super chat also, thank you. So, I mean, if Trump is up by 4 points, 4 to 5 points in Michigan, he's going to run away with this, and there's nothing Democrats can do. Okay, the only thing they can do is maybe switch horses midstream, get a different person. Maybe Hillary can raise enough money. Maybe they could fabricate they can convict him in New York, and that's not going to work. But that might momentarily help them. They might try desperately to convict him a second time. But I don't think these court cases are going to. Definitely the Fulton County and the classified data, that's not going to be done until late 25, and both of them are pretty much dismantled. And so then you have what? You have the hush money payment, which he'll probably be convicted of in New York. He'll be convicted of anything in New York, because it's run by Democrats. If the reverse were true, they would say, oh my God, it's Trump. He's an authoritarian and despot. And then when they convict Trump with Democrats, they say, oh, it's the rule of law. But anyway, let's continue.
We're up by 40 points in Nebraska. Wisconsin, we're doing unbelievable. We're doing great. My people came back to me, sir, it doesn't sound good. It's condescending. What? Don't mention to Iowa that you know you're going to win. Say I'd like to win. I said, wait a minute. I do know I'm going to win. I gave him $28 billion. How the hell do I lose, right? I said that to him, Wesley. And the people in Iowa, they get it. And we're up, way up. We have competition that's not so good there, or anywhere else for that matter. You see where Ron DeSanctimonious is now in third place? Can you imagine? Bird Brain is number 2, Bird Brain. I will never run against our president. He was the greatest president. I will never run against him. Under no circumstances will I run against President Trump. 2 months later, ladies and gentlemen, I'm announcing my candidacy. I'm saying, what the hell happened to that one? But that's what you have in politics, with the exception of Wesley and Louis. And we have some, by the way, we have great people. Dan Patrick is great. He's a great guy. I hope you like him, but he's the chairman of our campaign, right? And so many great ones. Ronnie Jackson, right? Troy, do we love Troy? I love Troy. You have a couple that I don't like too much, but we'll tell you about them around election time. We'll talk to you about that and as the election nears. But very simple. Very simple.
Really quickly regarding the issue of when Democrats say there's this obsession Democrats have with trying to prove that believers or religious people or people who believe in God that there's hypocrisy there. But the issue is, why would you believe blindly in an intelligence report that said an incoming candidate, the president-elect, is an operative of another country? Okay, you're suspending all logic. You're God now. You're worshiping an intelligence report that suits you politically, which is the only reason you believe it, without asking for any evidence. So atheists and Democrats love to say, oh, well, there's no evidence of God. Well, where was the evidence that Trump was an operative of the Kremlin? Oh, well, we have a report from the intelligence services. Okay, and the reports literally state confidence level. There's a lot of people around the world, most people around the world, very confident that God exists. So because you're confident, or that an intelligence agency is confident that Trump is an operative of the Kremlin, so therefore you're just going to suspend logic and believe that? I'd much rather believe a pretty obvious fact, I think, that God exists, than a politically motivated intelligence briefing that says Trump is the favorite of a country, of an enemy country. Therefore, vote Democrat. Because it's obvious propaganda. And so the atheist who looks at Trump and says he said both sides. The Kremlin wants him. He didn't pay his taxes. None of these things are true. None of these things are true. If you ask somebody who despises Trump, what did he do wrong? Oh, he tried to commit a rebellion. No, he didn't. You're going to get a Supreme Court rebuke of biblical proportions with a 9-0 ruling very soon, at least 7-2. But it'll be either unanimous or virtually unanimous. So what is it that Democrats believe about Trump that is actually accurate and factual? Nothing. They've distorted all of his quotes. They ignore the even more offensive statements made from Democrats. His immigration policies. More people are losing their lives entering this country than ever before. It's a record. And not one tear shed by AOC or Kinzinger or any Democrat or any Never Trump Republican. Hit subscribe, by the way, if you're new to this channel. Nikki Haley is going to lose tonight by double digits. And it's only a matter of time. She's going to probably, I would say, either before Super Tuesday or right after drop out of the primary. I don't see how she can continue losing by 20 to 30 points in every contest. And then Super Tuesday, she'll lose by 20 to 30 points in all of those states.
So it's no wonder that crooked Joe Biden and his far-left lunatics are desperate to stop us by any means necessary, any means possible. They're weaponizing law enforcement for high-level election interference because we're beating them so badly in the polls. The polls are incredible. The Iowa State poll came out recently, just now, I think. Trump is 54%, DeSanctimonious is 18% and falling, and Bird Brain is 12%. Bird Brain. Nikki Birdbrain. Sir, I will never, ever vote against you. You're the greatest president in my lifetime. It's not that long. You know, she's not that old, actually. I would have preferred if she said in generations, but what is she, 54 or something? I'll take the 54, right? But you are the greatest president, sir. I will never. She said it over and over again. I will never. They ask her, will you ever run against? No, I will not. He's been a great president. I will not do it. 2 months later, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to announce my candidacy. It's Birdbrain. I know her well. She's not up to the job. In New Hampshire, DeSantis is down in 5th place. Did you know that? 5th. This is a fall like nobody's ever seen before. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to come in 5th, because he might come in 6th or 7th. Okay. And we're destroying crooked Joe Biden in the general by 5, 6, 7, 8, and in one case 11 points, in one case 14 points. In the battleground states, and those are in the battleground states. And we're leading the Republicans by a lot in New Hampshire. We're leading them by a lot in South Carolina, where we go after that. And then we're leading them by a lot in Nevada, like by 65 points or something. So, but this is so important because you are first in the nation. Look, I kept you first in the nation. I'm the one that, will you please give me a good show at least out of it, okay? Please. These characters cancel out. That's going to be the end of them. We got to get back. We got to beat the Democrats. We got to stop this nonsense. They have debates. They had a debate 2 weeks ago. I had a unbelievable rally in Hialeah, which is great. You know, it was incredible. It was like this. The place was packed, but it was thousands and thousands. It was a stadium. And I'm making this speech. I looked up. You couldn't get another person in the room. And I start, and then I notice the people from the way in the back up. This is a football stadium. So they start meandering down to the field. And the fake news said, there were empty seats. There were empty seats. No, there were no empty seats. They wanted to come down and be closer. So I could see them coming down. When I started, it was packed. Within 5 or 10 minutes, the people want to come down to the field, be a little bit closer. I understand that. Probably not supposed to do it, but who the hell's going to stop them? It's a lot of people, right? And the fake news said, we noticed empty seats. These people are the worst, okay? They are the worst. Fox News gave up on Ron DeSantis.
So, tonight, I should have a live stream tonight at around 10 p.m. Eastern Time. A celebration live stream. Trump is going to win by 25 to 30 points. It'll be very interesting. Very, very interesting. It'll be very, very interesting to see when Nikki Haley drops out. I think either tonight or this week. I just don't understand. I don't see why she would continue. I just don't see why she would continue. I don't understand. I don't understand the political logic. So you've already secured a book deal. Okay, you've already gotten donors for maybe a presidential run in 28. What's the point? You're just going to, you don't want to be known as the candidate that lost by 30 points in every single primary contest. So I don't get it. But let's continue. You know what? Let's listen to Nikki Haley really quickly.
Attention retirees.
So this is Nikki Haley. This is Nikki Haley in just going after Trump in a manner that ignores the fact that Democrats and media would have done the same thing to her. Prosecutors in blue cities, in cities run by the Democratic Party, would have already indicted her as well. You say, well, for what? They'll find something. They'll find something. None of the indictments for Trump would ever have been leveled at a Democrat, when Democrats do far worse. Okay, there are private servers with top secret intel on them. Impossible to transfer top secret intelligence onto servers. And I think that Hillary will eventually replace Biden. It's highly illegal, though, and anyone would have been not only indicted but convicted immediately. You cannot transfer top secret intelligence onto servers, which is what the Honorable James Comey stated happened. But he said no reasonable prosecutor would indict. Democrats get away with, and then the classified data with Biden, that was even worse in a way than what Biden did was probably worse than what Clinton did. And he got away with it. So, but let's listen to Nikki Haley really quickly.
the one and only job of the RNC, electing Donald Trump president of the United States? Is that where every penny should go? I assume you don't agree with that.
I mean, it should be a wake-up call for Republicans all over this country. I mean, you look at the fact that we saw in his campaign reports that he used $50 million of campaign contributions to pay for his personal court cases. Then he tried to get the RNC to name him the presumptive nominee. We don't anoint kings in America. So when he got pushback on that, they started to walk it back. Now he's trying to control the RNC by putting his daughter-in-law as the co-chair and putting his campaign manager as the director of operations. Now, when you look at that, the part I worry about is the RNC is now going to be the piggy bank for Trump's legal fees. The RNC is almost broke already. Now you go and see he's looking for other avenues to pay his legal fees. The RNC...
They're indicting him because of politics, so they can harm his chances in 24. So why wouldn't the RNC pay for his legal fees? The DNC would pay for Hillary's legal fees if the opposite were true, or Biden's. They're indicting Trump purely for partisan purposes. It has literally nothing to do with the rule of law. They would also indict Nikki Haley or DeSantis, or it would have, if Romney came back and became nominee, he would not only lose by 30 million votes, but they would indict him. Democrats are now going to indict any direct political rival. That's what they do. Okay? And you saw that with Biden and classified data. He did commit crimes. Trump did not. He was a former president with the power to declassify. They still indicted him. A hush money payment the FEC said wasn't even a crime. The FEC fined Clinton and the DNC. They still indicted him in New York. Okay, Trump didn't commit a rebellion. They still indicted him for that, for trying to foment one, allegedly, which was absurd. So, you know, and then in Fulton County, you see what's taking place is being dismantled. But why shouldn't the RNC pay for Trump's legal bills? These lawsuits are being funded by Democrats, Democratic politicians. This is purely politics. Furthermore, that's all the Democrats do is spend every dime furthering, for example, Clinton's campaign. I think Hillary will be opposite Trump in November.
You can hang up winning the House and the Senate or having any resources for us to win any other races if all they're doing is thinking about how they're going to pay his court fees. And this is what I'm talking about. This is the fact. I voted for Donald Trump twice. I was proud to serve America in his administration. But we have got to right the ship in this country. 70% of Americans have said they don't want Donald Trump or Joe Biden to be their only choices.
This is not accurate. This is not accurate. Trump is up by 4 points in Michigan. Okay? He's over Biden. He's up by Biden by 2 to 4 points nationally. And that's with only negative media coverage, all of late night against Trump. And all of Hollywood and almost every major political publication that focuses on politics. That's why they're all going under. Because they all say the same things 24/7. Trump is terrible. He's mean. He's a menace. It's just the same broken record. And yet he's still up. It's the opposite is true. The Republican Party wouldn't exist now, really, without Trump. Democrats would dominate even more, far more than they're not dominating. They barely have the majority in the Senate, but they'd probably have a much greater. They'd probably still have the House. You would have Hillary for 8 years. They would have lost in 2016. So, I mean, there's no Republican that can defeat a Democrat other than Trump. And any other Republican would lose by 20 million votes. Because Trump is anti-endless wars. Nikki Haley is not. Okay? Democrats are not. So that's the choice. That's why you have Trump. Trump is the moral choice. To vote against Trump would be immoral in my view because you'd be voting for endless military conflict and a terrible economy and the immorality and human rights violations that are going on right now, where people trying to come into this country, losing their lives more than ever, and not a word, not one tear shed from AOC and all the good, righteous, moral Democrats and progressives. Where are these people now? You have the greatest atrocities taking place under Democrats, and they're completely silent. All they care about is Trump. But when Nikki Haley points out these stats, they're not accurate. They're not accurate at all. The reality is that people think that Biden is too old. They don't think Trump is too old. It's interesting because everything that is bad for Biden, they try to kind of combine Trump there. Like, oh, well, they're both old. So, do you really want both of them back? It's like, no. Every supporter of Trump, everyone who voted for Trump wants Trump back. Oh, definitely. That's 70 to 80 million Americans definitely want Trump. It's the Democrats who don't want Biden. So then they combine those polls. Do you really want both of them a rematch? Anyway, let's continue.
59% of Americans have said Donald Trump is too old and Joe Biden's too old to run for president. We need a new generational leader that's not distracted by court cases, that's not filled with vengeance towards our enemies, that's not in the drama, someone that goes and takes out the politics in our agencies, someone who stops
the drama isn't created by Trump. So, the drama isn't created by Trump. Nikki Haley would be embroiled in drama also if she were the main focus of Democrats and all of media. So,
the wasteful spending in America, someone who gets our kids reading again and goes back to the basics in education, someone who secures our borders with no more excuses, someone who brings law and order back to our country, and someone who can make a strong America that prevents wars that we can all be proud of. That's what I am.
But nobody believes Nikki Haley because she's being funded by the same people who don't care about the border or who want never-ending military conflict. So it's like she's the never Trump candidate. That's why Democrats have endeared themselves to her. Democrats were, very, very kind in media to Kim Jong-un when he was going at it with Trump. Then Trump was the first president to step foot in North Korea, and it was like a big, monumental historic moment. And the media had like one day, oh, okay. And then they tried to disparage it as a photo op. It's like, well, if Hillary Clinton or Biden were the first president, or President Obama, who won the Nobel Peace Prize, by the way, and ended up destroying countries. If President Obama was the first president to step foot in North Korea, like Trump was, oh my God, he'd win like 2 or 3 more Nobel Peace Prizes. But see, that's the way the American political establishment is. They don't like Trump because he doesn't worship sacred cows. There are these sacred cows that Democrats and never-Trumpers worship. They care more about they care more about image and this kind of decorum than they do sending Americans to never-ending military conflict, or like we see what's taking place in Europe now. So it's never-ending. I said when Biden became president, I said there will be never-ending wars, and we see that now. So very soon she will drop out, and it's just a matter of time. I'm probably right after, or either tomorrow, or this week. Let's listen to Byron Donalds.
Rock Hill, South Carolina. Rock Hill, before I begin, I told this section in the arena today that I was going to shout them out, and they're going to send a message to the entire United States of America that Donald Trump is going to be the 47th president of the United States. Shh. Everybody bring it down for a second. Keep calm. Section 102, let me hear you. You know, I've only said about 15 words, but let me tell you something. Section 102 sounds like the voice of South Carolina, and it sounds like the voice that's going to tell Nikki Haley that this primary contest is over. You know, Raquel, something funny happened out in Nevada. About 2/3 of Nevada's voters said that they wanted none of the above before they wanted Nikki Haley. But something else is going on in the United States of America, and it is people all across our country, white, black, Republican, Independent, Democrat, they are looking at Joe Biden and they are saying this man is a catastrophe. Give us Donald Trump back. There are ladies in Chicago, Illinois, who have been voting Democrat for a generation, and they're saying to themselves right now, the Democrat Party has failed them, and it's about time that we start voting Republican because we know that Donald J. Trump will secure this border. They're saying in every state of our country that this inflation that was unleashed by Joe Biden and the radical Democrats is hurting everybody. And we know there's a guy who can get our economy back on track, and his name is Donald J. Trump. Our allies all over the globe are saying, this man is soft. This man is weak. He can't even find his way off a stage. And we need real American leadership back. And that man is Donald J. Trump. So South Carolina, tomorrow, you're going to send a resounding message to the Republican establishment. You're going to send a resounding message to the Democrat Party. You're going to send a resounding message to the United States of America, and you're going to send a resounding message to the world that the 47th president of the United States is going to be Donald J. Trump. God bless you, South Carolina. God bless America.
So, ladies and gentlemen, be here at around 10 p.m. Eastern tonight. I don't see Nikki Haley continuing at all. I think that she's going to have to drop out after South Carolina. We'll see. I mean, Super Tuesday's around the corner. She won't win even one state in Super Tuesday, and she'll be down by 20 to 30 points each of those states. So it makes no sense. It makes no sense. She'll make a name for herself as losing by 20 to 30 points in every single contest against Trump. So it's not, I mean, in a way, there aren't only diminishing returns. You're actually helping Trump tremendously by staying in the contest and continuing to pretend that there's some competition. So now he continues to win. And when she says, oh, we don't coronate people, they coronated people in the DNC all the time. The Democratic lawyers in the DNC lawsuit in 2016 and 2017, they said in court that they don't even need an actual primary. They don't even need an actual primary. They can just pick their candidates in smoke-filled back rooms. So they coronate, Democrats coronate all the time. Anyway, hit subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be back tonight around 10 p.m. Eastern. We'll have a celebration live stream, and I'll see you very soon. Trump is going to dominate. We'll find out in a couple of hours just if it's 25 or 35 points. hit subscribe right now. Thanks so much, everybody.